to my channel. This is OCD Movie Reviews. My name is Owen Brinkat, and welcome to another movie review. This is exciting, guys. Today we are going to review our highly most anticipated comic book film that finally came out this year. We thought it was going to be delayed next year. Now it's coming out this Boxing Day, and that movie is Wonder Woman 1984. This movie, once again, is directed by Patty Jenkins, who directed the first Wonder Woman movie, and of course stars Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Kristen Wiig, and Pedro Pascal. I hope I say his name right. So without spoiling the plot of Wonder Woman 1984, this movie of course took place in 1984 when the Cold War begins. Diana Prince / Wonder Woman, played by Gal Gadot, has to face against Maxwell Lord, played by Pedro Pascal, and the Cheater, played by Kristen Wiig, while also reuniting with her love Steve Trevor, played by Chris Pine.
What did you do?
Now, of course, this is going to be a non-spoiler review, guys, because I saw this movie pretty early. So this movie is coming out on Christmas Day or Boxing Day in Australia. So of course, I'm not going to spoil what happens in Wonder Woman 1984. This is a non-spoiler review. You guys are safe with me. I was really pumped for this movie because I love the first Wonder Woman movie. I think Wonder Woman is the movie that kind of saved the DC Extended Universe when Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad came out. It was definitely the biggest disappointments, and we were worried that Wonder Woman will be exactly that same movie, and it absolutely wasn't. It was a great comic book movie, probably one of the better superhero origin stories with Batman Begins. And after that, the DC Extended Universe has gone better, like with Aquaman and Shazam. Those are really fun movies. But of course, I was pumped for Wonder Woman 1984. The trailers of the movie look absolutely spectacular. We were worried that this movie won't come out this year. Finally, this movie can still come out this year. I thought Birds of Prey is just going to be the only comic book film that's going to come out this year. Thank God Wonder Woman's like, you know what? We're not giving up on you. We're going to release in 2020. So I saw an early screening just today. I just got back from an early screening of this movie. Once again, this movie is meant to come out on Christmas Day or Boxing Day, with of course coming out on HBO Max as well, because Warner Brothers movies are now getting released in theaters and streaming services, which is very controversial for me. So, here it is. What do I think of Wonder Woman 1984? Just got out of the movie. I had a blast with this movie. Thank God this movie was good. Now, was this movie as good as the first one? No, it does have flaws. But this is a pretty good sequel. And what I love about this movie very, very much is that it sets the tone of the 1980s really, really well. It definitely looks different than the first Wonder Woman movie. The first Wonder Woman movie is definitely a World War II film. It's very dark, it's very grey and edgy. This movie is much more lighter than the first Wonder Woman was. It's much more classy. It's very colorful for the most part. It looks like a very simple superhero film that would have came out in the 80s in a really good way. Of course, Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman. I can't see anybody else playing a movie version of Wonder Woman, because Gal Gadot from Fast and Furious, I was very nervous for her as Wonder Woman for Batman v Superman, and she was great in her own standalone movie. She was better. And this movie, I'm like, she is Wonder Woman. She is Diana Prince / Wonder Woman. She has heart in this film. She's powerful. Her acting in this film was fantastic. Of course, she is sexy in this film. Like, my God, this is probably the hottest I've seen Wonder Woman in a film, like, ever. But Gal Gadot's performance in this film as Wonder Woman, she nailed it. It's like Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man or Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, you know? You can't choose anyone else that's better, because Gal Gadot was fantastic in the role. Also, Steve Trevor returning, played by Chris Pine, and definitely he's the most curious I've seen out of the characters in this film, because of course, spoiler alert for the first Wonder Woman movie, Steve Trevor dies, so how is he coming back to life in this film? Of course, I'm not going to spoil it, but what they did in the movie, I'm like, okay, it makes sense why he's back in this film. And he did a great job in the film, and his chemistry with Diana in the film was just sweet. I just love them two together. They're very cute together. But also, we got some new additions in the film. We got, of course, Pedro Pascal in the movie as Maxwell Lord. I'm not going to spoil his character, because his character is definitely the most important part in this movie. Wow, what a performance he does in this film. I loved him in The Mandalorian, of course. He was great in that show. But I was actually really excited for him because he's a phenomenal actor, and in this movie, he really surprised me. He's very over the top at times, but in a good way. His motivations in the film, we kind of get it. We kind of get what's going on. But the thing that really surprised me about this film the most, and thank God it exceeded my expectations, is Kristen Wiig as the cheater. I was very nervous about this casting because Kristen Wiig is good in comedies and she's a great actress. And she can play in serious roles too, like The Martian, for example. But as a comic book movie villain, I'm like, okay, taking on one of the most iconic Wonder Woman villains, Kristen Wiig. Thank God she is great in this film. She really brings this role up really, really well. She's very quirky. Basically going from the Batman Forever type aspect, like when you watch the trailers and you watch the movie, like, this is reminding me of Batman Forever with her character. But I feel like this is a better version of Riddler from Batman Forever in this film because I think Kristen Wiig nailed it. She nailed it as a cheater. Like, wow, that is one big surprise from this actress. It proves to us that she's not a comedian. Not just a comedian. She is a good actress as well. But of course we're going to talk about the action in this movie because the action in this movie, I would say the first movie was much more action-packed than this movie was. I would say Wonder Woman 1984, without spoiling it of course, is more of a mystery film. It's more of a mystery going towards the plot, which I'm not going to spoil once again. But this film is more of like a detective mystery film with some Wonder Woman aspects in it. But the action in this movie, most part, is directed really, really well. And it's so much fun to watch. Like, Wonder Woman 1984 is basically the summer movie we should have gotten. If the coronavirus didn't exist, it would have ruled the summer movie season. But of course, this movie comes out in the Christmas season. And I felt like the action of this movie was like, this would have been so much better in the summer movie season. But the action was fantastic in the film. It was so much fun. It was badass. Of course, it was sexy at times. But for the most part, it's directed really, really well. For the most part, which I'll get to the flaws right later on. But the action was fun. And there are some scenes in this movie I'm like, this is definitely the most iconic Wonder Woman scene that I've seen from the extended universe. There's like one scene in this movie that shows Wonder Woman in the sky. One of the most beautiful scenes I've seen Wonder Woman in. Like, holy crap. That scene was like, wow. It was just a beautiful shot in general. Like, the look of that scene is like, it just keeps a smile into my face. When you watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But I would say this movie does have a couple of problems. Like, it's not as good as the first Wonder Woman movie. I wish this movie could have been better. I wish this movie could have been like the next Spider-Man 2. I would say this movie is a little bit too long. This movie is 2 hours and 20 minutes long. They could have cut it out at least like 20 minutes of this movie. There are some scenes of this movie that did drag on. It wasn't boring or anything, but I wish they could have cut that aspect in. Like, we didn't need that in the movie, especially the opening scene in my opinion. It just has nothing to do what this movie is. Also, I would say there are some aspects of this film that I wish they could have explored a little bit more, like Cheetah's character. I feel like Cheetah in the film could have had more standouts. I don't even think she was that much of a standout in the film. It's more about Pedro Pascal in the film, his character in the film, and I felt like the Cheetah could have been a bit more used, even though Kristen Wiig was fantastic. Also, I would say there are some visual effects in this movie that look a bit too noticeable. There are some visual effects that you're like, yep, that is definitely noticeable. It doesn't look as realistic. And I would say some of the action in this movie, all of them are mostly fantastic, but there is a simple action scene in this movie that I felt like they made a little bit too shaky cam, like we couldn't see what is going on with that action scene of the movie. But guys, overall, I had a blast with Wonder Woman 1984. Thank God this movie was good. Thank God this movie saved this year. This is a fun movie, great comic book film, great sequel to the first movie, even though I do think the first movie is better than this movie. Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman, of course. Every character in this film really stood out for me. The action was great, the mystery aspect was great, the tone of the movie looks really great. This is definitely worth the watch, guys. I would say I would highly recommend you guys to go see Wonder Woman 1984 this Christmas or watch it on HBO Max. I don't mind. I just want you guys to see this movie because I had a blast with this movie. I'm going to give Wonder Woman 1984 an 8 out of 10. So guys, it's almost the holiday season. I know I haven't reviewed a Christmas movie yet. Don't worry. There are some Christmas projects that I'm going to do on my channel. So that is coming up soon. But guys, Let me know what you think of Wonder Woman 1984. Let me know in the comments below if you like the movie, hate the movie, or if it's okay. Just let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys follow me on social media links down below, Facebook, Stardust, Instagram, Twitter. Keep contacting me, and thank you guys so much for watching this review. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, notified for my latest reviews, and have a nice day.